There's a publication ban on what happened inside the courtroom in terms of the details of the charges, but what I can say as strongly as I can say is that we're very upset with the circumstances that led to her detention over Christmas for 5 days. She was detained at Crown request for further investigation. There's a new charge that is as minor as a charge could be, and so she was, not only did she see her husband killed in front of her eyes, in front of her kids, she was stripped from her baby for 5 days while breastfeeding in order just to be released on consent this morning. So it certainly added to her trauma, and we're definitely looking into the circumstances of the death of her husband. And I think if there are journalists around who are interested, somebody may want to ask the question as to why a pre-dawn forced entry was necessary in this case. And certainly I think we need to get the details in terms of the background on this case accurate, so that the public actually gets, I think, a fair account of what's going on with this person.
Melissa, how are you feeling?
No comment.
She needs to go see her baby, right? Well, Melissa was arrested right after the death. She was killed by London police. Her husband was killed by London police on Friday. She was arrested for possession of a crossbow. We tried to secure her release because she had a 6-month-old that she was breastfeeding and a 2-year-old. We were unable to get her released because the Crown and police decided they need to detain her for 3 days. Investigative detention, which turned out to be 5 days, so they could do further investigation. We showed up this morning to the revelation that she was charged with one other minor count, and we were able to get her release on consent of the Crown. And now my client is just eager to see her baby, which she hasn't been able to breastfeed for 5 days. Tremendous stress for her to witness what happened, to then be detained. We're thankful that she's released. We will be looking into the conditions of the shooting of her husband, and specifically want to know why a pre-dawn forced entry raid was required in a house that had 2 young children. That resulted in what we believe was an avoidable death. Probably a wrinkle to the case as well is that her husband, when he was shot, was on the phone with a lawyer from our office, Nick Cake. So right now we just need to get her back with her daughter.
What was he on the phone about?
You can ask Nick Cake was there, but he was.
Sorry,
Nick, do you want to talk about it?
At this point in time, what I can say is that
Sorry.
at 6:09 in the morning on December 23rd, Sam Maloney called my house and indicated to me that the police were raiding his home. In the background, I heard sounds that would be consistent with a search warrant, and I heard officers asking for Sam to show his hands. I explained to Sam that he needed to put his hands up or he would be shot. Sam agreed with me, and subsequently I heard 4 shots, and then the line went dead. In the background, I heard officers yelling and Melissa screaming. At that point in time, after that phone call, I actually got in my car and drove from my residence to Melissa and Sam's house, arriving there as more police units were arriving, interacted with some of the officers on scene, but was unable to gather any further information. The next time I was able to speak with anyone was Melissa when she called from the cell block later that morning.
So did you have any conversation with Sam at all before?
I did.
And what did he say?
At this point in time, I'd like to keep that between Sam and I. There is still a lawyer-client privilege that extends. At this point in time, I'm not able to comment on exactly what was said. I can say this, that I was telling Sam to put his hands up, and the words that Sam was speaking led me to believe that he was agreeing with me and doing what he was instructed to do.
Now, did he call you or did you call him?
He called me.
What time did you say he called you?
6:09.
And can you just go quickly over that again for me? So he called you, was it a panic mode?
Nope. Sam was speaking. I've known Sam for some time. He was speaking as Sam would normally speak, very calm, very cool, very collected. Explained to me that the police were raiding his house, and then a subsequent conversation followed, and it ended with me hearing the 4 shots and the phone line not going dead in the sense that it hung up, but there was no more Sam.
You could hear screaming, you said?
Yes, I could hear Melissa screaming.
No, Melissa, you're not speaking today, right? No. Has she had any contact with her children over the last couple of days?
No.
Is
She was
gonna
placed in solitary. She's been in a cell by herself without counseling for 6 days.
And who's taking care of the children?
Family have been taking care of the children. We're going there right now for her to be reunited. Thankfully, and I will say, Melissa did comment that the guards in the jail were nice to her. They did get her a breast pump that relieved the pressure and the suffering that she was going through. So, you know, for that, we'd like to thank the guards who helped her in that regard. Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys.
I'm just gonna